From the top of the CBS Interactive building in San Francisco, California, it's the Apple Byte Extra Crunchy podcast with your host, Mr. Brian Tong.
Woo! What's up, everybody? We are back. We're back.
Your mic is
My
still
mic is
messed
still
up.
messed up. Can we? Are we still crunchy there?
Crunchy.
Okay.
There you
Here we go.
There you
Welcome
baby.
to the show, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages. We are back in the original studio. Things are a little dusty. If it gets
Dusty,
crunchy,
yes.
we're gonna fix that. It's called the Apple Byte Extra Crunchy for a reason. Steven, what is that sound? What is that?
That is a preamp over here that, we had like all this construction on the 6th floor.
For 7 months?
Yeah, for 7 months. And I covered this whole room in plastic, but still dust gets in places. And there's dust in this preamp behind me. And that's what's causing Brian's voice to
extra
crackle.
crunchy sometimes.
But I think we're good now.
Okay, don't jinx it, okay?
Yes.
Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. It's Apple Byte Extra Crunchy, episode 78. For those of you joining us, first-time listeners, this is a complimentary piece to our Apple Byte show. We're doing a little early this week, but guess what? You can't not talk about what happened with the Galaxy S8 and how it stacks up of maybe what we have now and what we've seen. We do want you to also be a part of the show like you always are. We have people on YouTube, live stream, and Periscope watching live. If you guys ever want to check that out, you can check out my Twitter at Brian Tong. But to call us and be a part of the show because it's all about you all. 1-800-616-2638. Leave us your name, where you're from. Look, we even show you the graphic right here.
Yeah,
on
there
the
it
fly.
is. It's on the screen now.
So you guys and gals can call, leave a message. We'll work on bringing back live calls. We're easing back into the old studio. So let's talk about it. Yesterday, I was actually off-site doing some cool stuff that we'll be able to talk about later, like in a few weeks. But the S8 dropped. It was everything we expected. But when I look at the whole entirety of that keynote, there is really nothing about the S8 that would tell me a large group of people, whether they're on a Google Pixel, an iPhone, maybe a OnePlus phone. There was nothing about the S8 that would convince me that flocks of people will jump ship and change platform for the S8. I know there will be some, but just not a lot. And for right off the bat, before you think I'm hating on the S8, that is the best screen and the best design on a phone that we have today. But when you look at kind of the other new features, the Bixby virtual assistant, it's actually still half-baked. It's not completely there. It's going to be better. The ability for it to pull up general information and questions that you typically will ask Google or ask Siri, it's not as good at doing that, and it's really going to be more about integrating into the OS, making access to your apps easier, being able to use that easier. But again, it's still half-baked. Like when we got our hands on the early versions, it wasn't working completely. And so it's going to take time for us to see really how good Bixby is. I'm curious what you guys and gals all think. Like, was Bixby even compelling enough? Because right now, as it stands, the Google Assistant is still better than Bixby. And arguably, Siri, at this point in time, it's a little, maybe flip a coin, but Siri might be actually better than Bixby right now at this point in time. And you don't want to talk about that when it's a new feature that you have just launched. You want it to be the best.
Well, yesterday when we were watching the keynote and they talked about Bixby, they barely talked about it. It was just like a mention. Oh, we got this new thing. Here it is. What it looks like. That was it. We didn't really even. I don't really recall a demo happening either. But.
Yeah, it is their AI. We'll see how it flows. Comes together. But when we talk about the perspective of the Apple, Apple Nation, because that's who this show is all about. I'm just wondering if you all felt threatened about it. Do you think? How about this, Steven? Do you think based on all these crazy rumors, do you think the iPhone will be better looking than the Galaxy S8, which really looks amazing with that screen?
Well, it's tough to say because I have seen a lot of people on Twitter and elsewhere saying the new Galaxy S8 is amazing and it looks beautiful. I have seen that comment a lot.
Yeah.
We don't know what the iPhone is going to look like, but people are saying it's going to look like the 4. So are people going to just be like, oh, it looks like a phone we've already seen before? It's hard to say how people are going to accept the new iPhone.
I think either way, right? You have a built-in demand that is already part of the platform of Apple. It has continued to show us that people are willing to buy the next generation of the iPhone, whether you're on the 2-year cycle now even on a 1-year cycle with their Apple upgrade program. I just don't see this number, this market share balance isn't going to change. Like the last time I saw, I believe Apple was just slightly ahead of Samsung, with shipments from the last quarter of 2016. It was like 79% versus like 17.6% Apple over Samsung.
That's barely, yeah.
Yeah, which is barely, right? You have the lines have been drawn. Now we are we are committed to these ecosystems. We always talk about that. So we'll see. But I do got to give them props. That screen looks amazing. But
Yeah.
again, is just a better looking phone enough for you to switch over? I don't think so.
Yeah, another thing I kept seeing people make comments about was just like all smartphones look the same now. They're all just the same form factor. Like there's not much difference in them. They're black. They have a screen. Like, what else can you do?
People really feel that way now.
Yeah,
This is a really mature space, and it's just hard to say that there's a significant, innovation. But that infinity screen, yeah, take me
It
there.
does look cool, yeah.
Take me there. If Apple can take me there, I'll be happy about that.
Yeah. Well, that was kind of like, I remember we had a voicemail last week where a guy was talking about how they're going to extend the the bezel's going to disappear on the iPhone. It's going to go out to the edge. So it could look a lot similar to this Galaxy S8.
And I'm sorry, I don't want to hate on, people that make these videos, but it's like the instant video that comes up, which is total BS, is Galaxy S8 versus iPhone 8. You idiots. It's not even out.
I know,
It's like,
right?
I'm sorry, there's things that are being worked on in this building. I'm not one of those. That are like, oh, let's talk about how the new iPhone is better than the S8. I'm like, the new iPhone isn't even out. All these are unconfirmed, rumored features that literally are not even remotely official. And you're going to make a video on that?
Yeah.
Like, that bothers me. I'm sorry. As someone who cares about this, that bothers me. That's why people get turned off by some of the stuff that just in general is thrown out there.
Yeah. Yeah. In their defense a little bit, the iPhone 7, when it came out, like every rumor that we heard was true, sort of, right?
I mean,
Like there's a lot of rumors that came out that ended up being happening. So maybe people are just kind of trusting in that.
You're right, but I guess I come from an old school world where I'll talk about the rumors and completely treat them as rumors, but I'm not going to headline something that makes it sound like it's facts.
Yeah, yeah.
And alternative facts, y'all. I'm sorry.
Well, I
need to
saw
let
that. I
go.
saw that same argument when the Nintendo Switch came out because a lot of people were reviewing it before the actual ship version of the Switch came out. So I saw a lot of back and forth about that too. It's similar situation,
And guess what? The videos that come out first, the way that SEO and search works, they get the most views.
Oh yeah.
Right? It's a run for clicks and views, and fine. I'm just saying I wish that we were a little smarter about it. I just wish. But hey, that's right. Or was it early worm? No, early bird gets the worm.
Yeah.
Fine. You get all the worms you want. And I'm criticizing us in-house too, okay? I'm not criticizing. I'm everyone. It's everyone. Okay, let's talk about other things right now. We're going to transition a little bit over to iPad stuff. Sometimes people get all sick about iPhone this, iPhone that. We've got more iPad stuff. The new iPad 9.7-inch is available for personal pickup at stores. And it's kind of funny because iFixit, who is known for basically dismantling this stuff, did a teardown of the new iPad. Again, this is a new version. Okay, how about this? Let me rewind and explain this. We had the iPad Air 2. This new iPad is the same thickness as the original iPad Air. It removes the Air name. It brings in a faster A9 processor chip. So iFixit tore it down and basically said, this looks just like the original iPad Air in the inside as it does on the outside.
So what was the difference? Like just a chip?
It's really a strategic market thing where they're bringing in a 9.7-inch tablet at $329, which right when I said that, I'm like, that is the best value, the best 9.7-inch tablet you're going to find on the market. Now, it's not it's not from a price standpoint, it's the best value. I never said it's feature-wise the best, but it kind of bothered me when I looked at this iPad teardown because it's like, okay, they're outright saying this is exactly the iPad Air with just like a faster processor. And then it brings me back to how the philosophy as Apple has completely changed, because I remember all the time, and don't say don't be that old dude talking about this stuff. Steve Jobs would always say, we're making the best possible products. That was what he said, and damn, that is what he did, right? We had one iPhone. We had one iPhone during his entire reign, okay? We had one iPad during his entire reign. All right, desktops, laptops, that's a little different. Now, when I see this iPad, which again is a great value, but to know the fact that there's an iPad mini, there's an iPad, there's an iPad Pro 9.7, there's an iPad Pro 10.5, there's an iPad Pro 12.9. Wow. Tim's philosophy is, when he says we're making the best possible products, I think this is really what he's saying. Tim Cook, in my mind, is saying we're making the best possible product at multiple price points. And that, guess what? Apple is raking in the cash. They're making more money than they ever had. But when he says, oh, we're making the best product possible, he's really saying we're making the best product possible at multiple price points. But when you really break that down, that means you're not making the best possible product, right?
Yeah,
you've got 5 iPads, bro.
Steve Jobs is a hard act to follow, man. So Tim Cook is like doing everything he can, to keep Apple profitable and keep them up on that higher echelon that they are. So, I kind of get it. But I get your argument too. There's like so much, it's becoming like I remember when Android first came out, we're always like, oh, it's, what was the word we used to use all the time?
What's it?
There's just so many Android products just started to get
fragmentation.
Yeah, fragmentation. So that's kind of what's happening with Apple now. And Steve Jobs was an amazing salesman, and Tim Cook doesn't have that same kind of, he doesn't have that it.
And that's
that it thing.
Here's the thing. That's okay not to have that it, okay? No, I'm not saying be Steve Jobs. All I'm saying is that don't say the same stuff he said when it's not true.
Yes, I agree.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, that's, when...
They're still borrowing lines from the script, but
Thank you.
Totally different, Yeah, sales and the whole marketing thing's different.
When you again, so that's all I'm saying. I just want to use it as another example of where it hit me, and I'm just like, man, this company has changed, and yes, they're super profitable, and fine, investors be happy, and I still buy Lord knows how much Apple stuff, right? Like, it's I'm the guy who buys the iPad 12.9 inch, okay?
Yeah,
I'm that guy.
iPad
okay?
Pro. But this dude in the YouTube chat room, he said, I'm gonna slay his name. I'm sorry. Abhishek Vopala. He says Tim Cook is a salesman. Steve Jobs was an innovator. But I would argue Steve Jobs was both innovator and a salesman.
I agree.
Big
I totally
time.
Agree. I totally agree. So again, that whole iPad and just the fact that, and guess what? As a supply chain guy, you're using older parts that you have to sell a lower cost product, which is just, kind of business 101 when you talk about clearing inventory. But damn, the day that I see Apple literally doing that, like actually doing that, it kind of hurts. I mean, I know we have the iPhone SE, right?
Yeah. People love that phone.
And that's a still popular form factor. It's just a different world, and I'm still having a problem dealing with it. I'm still having issues dealing with it. I just want to be honest with you all. And I know some of you are. I know some of you are there too. So whenever one says, oh, they're not innovative, like, it goes deeper than that, It goes
well, another guy in the chat room just said, Tim Cook is afraid to take risks that Steve wasn't. I'm going to call BS on that too, because they put out the AirPods. I mean, that's a huge risk. They took the phone, the headphone jack out of the phone. I mean, that's a giant risk.
That's a great point.
You can argue that's innovating, but it also like freaked everybody out at the same time.
W1 chip was the best innovation from 2016. I've said that when it came out. I'll say that now. I think it still holds water. The AirPods are like I said, they're a really, 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 really good product. I will never call them a great product because they don't do everything yet, but damn, they're really good. And over time, you'll like them. But again, they still look fugly.
Yeah.
And there's it's not that's not the best possible version of the AirPods.
No.
Like, I know this.
Yeah. I mean,
they know it too.
The design, they could have changed the design just a tiny bit, made them a little different than the earbuds.
Yeah.
And I think they might have even been a little more popular.
Like, I was hating on the AirPods. I still hate on how they look.
You made a whole music video about it.
But for those of you who saw the video, which is very well produced and mixed by my friend over there, Stephen Beecham.
Thank you.
At the end we disclaimer it like until they're in stock, and I did say positive things about the AirPods in the video for the record. Technology, but Apple was technology and aesthetics. They did good on the technology part.
Yeah, and everyone's calling me out for being cheap because I don't want to buy AirPods for $170 or something.
That's right, because you keep on.
But come on, $170. That's a lot of money for two.
Yeah, 160 with tax. 160 with tax. All right, we'll keep on moving around in the show because I know you don't want us to sit here forever talking about that. That could almost be every show here.
Yeah, we could do that.
That could be every show here. I'm not sure if y'all heard about this. Maybe you did. There was a laptop ban on planes that came after a plot to put explosives in iPads. This recently just happened a few days ago, earlier this week.
Like a Monday or something.
Yeah, the U.S.-UK ban on selected, this is from The Guardian, this article that we're pulling from, but the U.S.-UK ban on selected electronic devices from the passenger cabins of flights from some countries in North Africa and the Middle East was partly prompted by a previously undisclosed plot involving explosives hidden in a fake iPad, according to a security source. So now the UK has a ban on tablets, laptops, game consoles, and other devices larger than a mobile phone that came into effect last Saturday. It applies to inbound flights from 6 countries: Egypt, Jordan, Lebanon, Saudi Arabia, Tunisia, and Turkey. Now there's also 6 UK airlines and 8 foreign carriers that are affected, including British Airways, EasyJet, Jet2, Monarch, Thomas Cook, and more. Now it also follows a similar move in the U.S., which applies to flights from 10 airports in 8 countries. They do say, and of course, at least with the U.S., these are Middle Eastern countries: Jordan, Egypt, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Morocco, Qatar, Kuwait, and United Arab Emirates. So the security sources both said bans were not the result of a specific incident, but a combination of factors. So if you are traveling to and from those areas and you're like, yeah, I'm not going to give up my iPad Pro, dude. They're going to have to wrestle that away from my cold, dead hands. That is my favorite gadget.
Yeah, you can't take it. That's such a bummer. You can't take it on the plane and watch a movie. When I first heard that story, my immediate thought was like, oh, some intelligence agency got a tip about some laptop exploding or something. So, better to be safe than sorry.
There also is a weird discrepancy about this because, see, the reaction to this is different from the UK and the US, right? There's not all the countries are the same on both lists, and it was kind of what the article kind of dug into is like they were suspect because it raised questions. How did they arrive at different conclusions if this was something that they were both worried about? Clearly, these two countries share more than enough information between each other. So why all of a sudden is like, oh, yeah, we're going to have a few different countries than you. The suspicion is that because of, the current administration that runs the show here decided to maybe throw in a few extra just because.
Trump travel ban?
Yeah, because we obviously have different, we, meaning administration, has a different idea of which countries should be on that list or not. But it's just a little reminder that the article also stated how terrorists are trying to use more innovative ways to sneak on explosives. Like, remember, there were shoes. There was the guy that got caught for putting an explosive in his underwear.
Yeah, that was an underwear bomb. That's right. And he was sitting in his seat and his underwear were exploding, but he wasn't moving or anything. He was just kind of sitting there waiting for it to happen. And someone was like, that guy's on fire over there. Dude. So that is terrifying. If you're on an airplane and something like that's happening, that is terrifying.
Yeah. So just be lookout. Just want to let you know there has been no resolution to this, but this is where the kind of the ban on electronics larger than a mobile phone from the UK and US specific to certain countries is happening at the moment. Just to also follow up on more iPad news. I know it's like iPad all the time right now. It's kind of like the hot thing. If you want to listen to more iPhone talk, just rewind about 10 minutes ago. You can listen to that. The 10.5-inch iPad is entering limited production, but a spring or WWDC or even a fall launch remains unclear. That's according to Forbes magazine.
Oh, this is it, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that it's not in the pipeline, but again, all rumors indicate that we'd have some sort of an iPad announcement in April. We're pretty much getting to April. People said early April. There's plenty of time. I'm not going to really hold Apple to like, oh, it's got to be an event this now. I do want to see the iPad 10.5 inch come out. I think in a weird way, if the screen is roughly the same size as my 12.9 inch, as long as I can see comics in the full page proportions that they're meant to be, and that doesn't happen on a 9.7 inch iPad, I might have to give that thing a look. I just might have to give that thing a look. But honestly, I'm going to stick with the 12.9 inch line. I love that big screen. But the article in the Forbes continued to kind of add on. The initial production is limited, but Apple's been known to do fairly fast ramp-ups in the past. It's also possible Apple could do a limited launch initially, adding countries as volume allows.
Nice.
So we're down with that. Low-cost iPad, remember that kind of talk about the 9.7 inch we talked about earlier. Last week we talked about how, or a couple weeks ago, we were talking about how new identifiers for new iPads had been discovered, from some of this data analytics with identifiers that clearly point to this new family of iPads. The low-cost iPad that just came out is now available to pick up in stores was not one of those.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that it was not part of the logs. That has been confirmed. So
there's another one in the works.
Yeah,
somewhere.
so this is exciting. Whenever you see these product identifier numbers pop up in logs by developers and other analytic websites, it's always a good thing. So iPad 7.1, 7.2, 7.3, and 7.4 were the ones that were found in the logs, which currently do not exist at all. Pretty dope. So
cool.
We'll see how that happens. In other new Apple announcements, we know this week, iOS 10.3, tvOS 10.2, WatchOS 3.2. Did you update?
I haven't. I've been meaning to do it, but every time it like pops into my head to do it, I have to do something with my phone, so I haven't done it yet.
I want to know how many of y'all updated, because I've always been a stickler on this, and I'll wait like 2 or 3 days before I actually do it, knowing that, historically there typically are some big bugs that happen, but up to this point, no major bugs have been really talked about with the 10.3 update.
Nice.
So for those of you that want to play a little catch up, at least with iOS 10.3, the big kind of two features is Find My AirPods. That's going to be part of it. The new Apple file system. Is that me? Is that my voice?
This is your video. Okay. Yeah, sorry.
No, it's okay. I don't like hearing myself on myself. It just sounds weird.
It's weird, right?
So we have like the Find My AirPods feature. Also, Apple's new file system that is optimized for modern usage, where back in the day it was made really for like old floppy drive, hard disk drives. We are now in solid state drives. So that in itself will help with performance. It's optimized for that. It's also a lot more secure. And then a subtle thing that has been overlooked is iOS 10.3 has reduced animations. They've actually shortened some of the animations jumping from apps and from different screens. So according to sources, and maybe y'all can verify this, it could be snappier.
That's good. I actually turned off the animations on my phone.
Me too. That's exactly what I did.
Make it a little faster,
Yeah, I hated that. It took me way too long. So the funny thing is, I wouldn't even know if the animations were snappier because I've turned them off so that it's the snappiest that they can be.
Nice.
I'm going to talk about iWorks.
Okay.
Could you believe this? Along with the sorry. You know what? Let me get it through. tvOS 10.2. Look out! It improves the scrolling. It improves the scrolling in tvOS 10.2. That also has to do with navigating when you're typing in letters. And also, we talked about it last week. The ability to rent one time on one iOS device, and that rental movie now showing on all of your devices as long as you update tvOS 10.2 and also update your iOS 10.3. You'll be able to watch a rented movie across multiple devices without having to re-rent it, which was the problem that happened before.
Right.
Doesn't that sound silly? WatchOS 3.2 gets the theater mode option. It basically turns the sound and the screen off while you're in a movie theater. If you need to see your screen, you can double tap the screen to turn on, but that is specific to the theater mode. That's a new feature. And then also they've added new Siri implementation that will allow you to do things like, say, start workouts, send messages, make payments, book rides. It's that type of stuff is now coming to your Apple Watch, so you can look even more like awkward in public,
That's
just
good.
talking to your wrist like it's a
Some,
friend you don't have.
sometimes I feel awkward talking to Alexa in my own house. I'm like, I wish I could do something else to turn it on, like just wave or something.
I like when you might have a nice moment and then you have to say, Alexa, turn off the lights.
Yeah. Just it's funny sometimes.
Like, what? So not hot. So not hot. All right, iWorks gets a update, and some of the cool things. This is like Keynote, Pages, and Numbers. The only iWorks app that I use actually a lot is still Keynote.
Oh yeah.
I actually legitimately use Keynote. I think it's awesome.
You and Brian Cooley. Like Brian Cooley is like Mr. Keynote.
Keynote is a stellar app to me. I don't care what y'all say. Actually, there's no better looking presentation app than Keynote when you put it together.
Yeah.
That's why aesthetically. So they've added a new feature in this update to the iWorks suite. Most notably, the ability to unlock password protected documents using Touch ID.
Nice.
So people that are working on it on their iPad and their iPhones, you can now have Touch ID locked iWorks apps. And then another thing that was kind of cool. These are all subtle things, but I did want to mention them and show love to all y'all that love iWork. I'm gonna see how many people heart that right now. Yeah, I'm not seeing any hearts right now for iWork fans, but you can also now embed an iWork Keynote presentation in a website.
Nice.
So you've had this ability to like collaborate and share, update and edit a Keynote, but you can now take your presentation that you made and embed it directly into certain websites.
That's pretty
That's
cool.
kind of sick.
That is cool.
Because it looks good.
Yeah, it does.
It looks really good. All right. In other news, the WWDC 2017 lottery is open this week. For those of you that want to go, I believe the price to enter. So this is the thing. It's a lottery system. You're not guaranteed to go in because there's such high demand, but you pay basically $1,599.
Whoa.
This is a big deal, though.
Wait, so you have to pay that for the lottery?
Well, you enter the lottery, and then if you win, then obviously you get charged for it.
Okay.
So tickets are doled out using a random selection process. Again, it's been implemented because it's been so crazy, the demand for it. Approximately 5,000 attendees are expected at the conference. So that's really, when you think about developers, there's so many people that want to get a piece of that apple pie that 5,000 is pretty limited. But again, this is specific to developers. 1,000 Apple engineers and executives will be there as well. The lottery will end on Friday, March the 31st at 10 a.m. Pacific time. So if you're listening to this and you didn't even know, you better get on that site.
Get on
You better
it.
get on it. But tons of sessions. Also, I like the WWDC. We typically see at least some sort of hardware announcements. This is going to go down, I believe, June 5th is when WWDC starts through Friday, June 9th. And typically there's a keynote on the first day. So we're also looking at that as a target date. If we don't see any iPads in April, which I hope we do, we'll most likely see something in June from them. And if we don't see something in June, then that's really bad. Like, what are you guys actually doing over there?
Hey, does the lottery cost money to enter?
No, it's not.
Okay, it's not like the Hamilton lottery where you pay $10.
It's absolutely. And then this kind of fun story before we wrap up and go to our calls. Apple has been declared the most intimate brand in a survey of 6,000 customers. This was held by...
What does that mean?
Well, I'll tell you what it means, my friend. And there's no Apple panties coming out anytime soon, although I did a search online and they do exist.
Apple panties.
Oh, yeah. There's actually a funny... Sorry, this is my job to do research, guys and gals. There's an Apple thong.
Oh, yeah.
And there's on the certain parts of the thong, there's the slide to unlock feature. It's printed on the panties.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, slide to unlock. Just look it up when you're not at work, and if you're at work, good luck. So MBLM, the company behind the survey, said that hard data actually proves the rankings aren't just fluff. The top-ranked intimate brands continue to outperform the S&P and Fortune 500 in revenue and profit over the past 10 years. These are the factors that they measured it. They really measured the overall positive feelings consumers had for each brand. So here's the factors. Number one, fulfillment exceeds expectations, delivering superior service, quality, and efficacy. Two, identity reflects an aspirational image or admired values and beliefs that resonate deeply. 3 is I know you're laughing like, wow, people.
Both
like,
those first two make me laugh.
Yeah, I know.
Fulfillment.
They
I'm
should.
so fulfilled.
Yeah, it's like, oh, thank you, Apple. Thank you, Apple.
You're my
mean,
identity.
I mean something in life. Enhancement, becoming better through use of the brand, smarter, more capable, and more connected. I'll give them that.
Okay.
Ritual, ingraining a brand into daily actions more than
that is true.
habitual behavior. The brand becomes a vitally important part of the daily existence.
That is true.
Nostalgia, I'll give them that. Focuses on memories of the past and the warm, poignant feelings associated with them.
Sure, I guess.
The nostalgia for me is deep. That's why I'm still with the damn brand. Indulgence creates a close relationship centered around moments of pampering and gratification that can be either occasional or frequent.
Wow.
So Apple rated number 1, Disney at 2, Amazon at 3.
Disney?
Yeah, Disney, shoot.
Yeah, I'm upset with Disney right now.
What happened? Tell me.
I took my kids to Goofy's Kitchen.
Wait, when did you go to Disneyland?
It was last year, like December.
Oh, this is still resonating, clearly.
It's still resonating, baby. Yeah.
A Goofy's Kitchen?
Really bad. Don't
character
ever go there.
breakfast?
Character breakfast. Okay. Don't ever go, everybody. Because it cost $9 million. And my kid, it was a nightmare. I don't even want to get into it. But my kid, cut his hand on a piece of furniture there. What? And then the kitchen didn't have Band-Aids. And it was just, and they told me I had to go buy Band-Aids. And I'm like, my son's here. It was just a night. I don't even want to get into
it. sorry. I opened
Don't go.
Sorry, I opened that wound because, on the other hand, I have been to Character's Breakfast as a grown
$9 million.
man. It is also $9 million.
Yes.
But I mean, I can see how it's fun. But yeah, I'm sorry that you had to go through that. Maybe if Disney's listening, they'll throw you a buy one and get one.
Oh,
free.
I went through all the channels to complain, and
then they didn't help you out.
No.
All right, so Apple 1, Disney 2, Amazon 3. I find Amazon 3 is very interesting. It's all about the money, the savings. Harley Davidson, number 4. That's really cool.
That
is a brand
cool.
like Harley Davidson is that high. Netflix was 5. Nintendo was 6. 7 is Samsung. Whole Foods is 8. BMW is 10. And BMW is 9 and Toyota is 10. I find it funny that Nintendo is 6 because I know plenty of people that love the Nintendo when I'm like, yo, there's only one game that came out on your system launch, bro.
I know, right?
It's like, and I bought a Switch and I haven't even opened it up yet.
Really?
Yeah. You're all
shocked.
Dude, I've been trying to find that for my kids, Tom.
No. After the whole debacle with the Nintendo Mini retro, what was it? The Nintendo Classic,
the Classic retro.
And no one could get one. And I tried. I went to Best Buy at 5 a.m. I tried. I could not get one. I'm over it. I don't even want one.
I think that that type.
I don't even want a Switch either.
Yeah, that type of stuff happens. So, again, Apple declared the most intimate brand.
Nice.
In a survey of 6,000 consumers.
Cool.
All right, let's get to the calls, shall we?
Calls.
Call y'alls.
Okay, we have our first call is from...
Hey, Brian, this is James from Washington State, and I was calling to find out if you heard of any rumors that the Apple AirPods will be updated this year to maybe a W2 chip. I just wanted to get your thoughts on that. I'm thinking about buying a pair, but I want to wait if they're going to update them sometime this year. Thanks, guys. Love the show. Bye.
Thanks for the call. Based on the timing of the fact that the AirPods actually only started becoming available in limited quantities in December, for them to they aren't even caught up to the the demand, and it's April already. So I don't expect us to see a new one this year. Maybe we might get an announcement, but I don't expect to see a new year. And the fact is that if there is so much demand, even after they catch up with supply, they don't need to rush out a new model. So,
and people are still waiting to get their order, right?
And Tim Cook likes the slow play. They just like to milk it, take their time. So I don't think we see one this year. But if I'm wrong, well, I'm wrong.
All right, next call.
Hey guys, what up? It's J-Mac from Brooklyn. Love your show. Been a fan since the beginning. Generally, I always leave long messages so you guys never play me. That's right, Beecham, Jonathan McIntosh, a.k.a. J-Mac. Anyway, Brian, just wanted to know, I'm in the market to get a new iPad. What should I get? The iPad Pro 12-inch like you, or the new Pro 9.7 or 10.5, or whatever it is at $349 for 32 gigs. That's it. Love the show, guys. Keep it going. Peace.
J-Mac, you got in 30 seconds. We see you.
31 seconds.
We
Good
see
job.
you, J-Mac. I think you should wait for the new iPad announcements. Don't make a decision then. I do think the 10.5 is really compelling if you want it to be a little more portable, but you still get a bunch of screen real estate. That's the one that I'm most curious about. But I love my 12.9 inch. I'm 12.9 for life. If you know what I mean. iPad.
Nice. Okay. Next call. If I can do it. There we go.
Hello, Apple Byte. This is Zach from Utah. I wanted to cover and discuss some Apple TV stuff quick. First, the Siri remote requirement that Brian disliked on the Apple TV was lifted last June, so good Apple there. But then some improvements I'd like behind the scenes. Apple worked with Voodoo, Amazon, and Google Play to get actual apps on the Apple TV, so I don't have to AirPlay. And also to get the TV app to work with family sharing better, because right now it doesn't show family purchases well, or it just takes a lot of extra steps. Thanks. Have a good day.
Thank you for all that.
Yeah.
That was super helpful information. So I think also the other thing is everyone's wondering it's been at least a year now where we had heard that Amazon was actually going to release an Amazon Video app on the Apple TV, and it still hasn't happened.
That's a bummer.
So I don't know we still don't know where the catch-up is. Technically, it should still be able to live on Apple's platform. I don't know if Amazon decided, we're just going to hold it back, but Amazon has typically been very free and open about just making their content available everywhere. Look at what they did with the Kindle. They put on every platform possible. But the Apple TV is the only one where the Amazon Video app isn't there. So that's what I want to see. But thanks for the call.
I'm still waiting for Chromecast on the Amazon app too. We need that.
Yeah. So
they all hate each other. All those companies hate each other.
I mean, they're trying to protect themselves. I get it, but whatever.
Yeah. Come on, just make it everywhere, man.
Exactly.
Okay, next call.
Hey, Brian, it's Kenny from Texas, and I just wanted to give you a call about the Samsung S8 and the S8 Plus unveiling, and wanted to ask if you could speak to someone that may want to get a Galaxy phone, but that may already be in the Apple ecosystem, and just what are some of the features that someone would have to give up if they got a Galaxy phone but still wanted to have their iPad and iMac and some of those other Apple devices. And I know for me, being able to text on all the different devices is really handy, and how pictures would work. So if you could just kind of speak to someone who's in the Apple ecosystem and considering getting one of those new Samsung phones and the features and how all that might work. Thanks. Love the show. Bye.
From the middle of a tornado.
Yes.
That was windy, but I think your points are good and clear. Look, with the Galaxy Samsung S8, you're right on the money. Everyone that I know that has switched at least off of Apple for whatever reasons, they miss iMessage across all devices.
Totally. Yeah.
Like, come on, your computer to your tablet to your phone to your watch. Like, it'll pop up everywhere.
Yeah.
You will miss that. Look, the advantages of the platform is if you like Android, but specifically you have to like Samsung's flavor of Android. I prefer the pure Google Pixel experience. I think that's the best Android experience. I think most people will tell you the same. The Google Assistant is there. So if someone was going to jump over to Android beyond just having a gorgeous looking phone, that only goes so far for me. I know the Google Pixel isn't the best looking phone. In fact, it looks like an iPhone, right? Like you're talking about,
totally.
Beecham.
Yeah.
But to me, that is the best Android phone on the market right now. And just to know that was their first attempt and their second one is probably going to be pretty ridiculous. I would just wait out and see what they do before you make a decision. But I know there's plenty of people that, love Samsung's platform, and I think it's great. It's just not the one that I like.
Yeah.
But so you'll be missing, you will get the best damn screen on planet Earth. That's for sure. You won't have 3D touch. I don't know how many people really care about it. I think that's a polarizing issue. Every time I say I kind of use it, but not really, people get mad at me.
Barely use it.
But I would say the majority of users are, I would say maybe 30 to 40% of people, actually, I would say maybe 30% of people really use it all the time and care about it, like that they would defend it. I think the rest of us don't really use that much and might use it once a blue moon or accidentally use it.
I accidentally used it on Instagram the other day. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll try it.
Oh, I could peek a pop. Peek a pop.
Now, you know, my parents have Android phones and I have an iPhone. So like texting with them, there's always like this weird communication breakdown, you know, like sometimes they don't get pictures or videos and, you know, and it's always kind of weird, you know?
And then what it comes down to is like you end up using a third-party app that can cover that, but it's not as integrated. Like there's always ways to get around it, but you know, look, the ecosystem has power no matter what side of the coin you're on.
Yeah, yeah.
The Google ecosystem has power as well.
Totally.
You know, they just make it at least a little easier to, you know, you can't use the Google Assistant on an Apple phone yet, Apple iPhone yet, but you at least still have access to Google Voice and all of that it brings.
Totally.
So I would just wait it out. I'm a Pixel boy if I have to go Android.
All right, last call.
Hey, Apple Byte. Hey, I just want one more bad apple about the Apple TV. Not just the fact that it's not in 4K, but I set up my TV system. I wanted to get the fastest streaming possible, so I set up my TV with my router and wanted to wire everything. So I wired my PlayStation and I wired my Apple TV right into my router, thinking that that's going to be the fastest. But then I started streaming some stuff, and then I realized it's lagging a little bit. And lo and behold, the Apple TV, this is the newest model, doesn't have a gigabit port on the back. It's only to 100. So my internet, because I got new internet, was streaming it faster. So what did I do? I unplugged it. Now I'm using more Wi-Fi for my Apple TV that's 6 inches away from my router. So bad apple on them. Let's get a gigabit port on the back of that. Because, I mean, why go wireless if it's right next to it? But anyway, great show. Love listening to you guys.
Good point.
I'm all about that. I am all about that.
Yeah, yeah.
So, all right, Beach, is that what we've got for the show?
That's it, man.
Excellent.
We're back in the studio. I'm happy. I'm still like pushing buttons wrong.
Yeah,
and
you're
stuff.
like readjusting back to
readjusting.
the
Exactly.
old. What old is new is old is new.
Something like
What's
that.
new is old. What's new is old but new.
What's old is new again. I think, right?
Yes.
That's what.
Yeah, I got to work on that. I'm gonna work on that for y'all next time. All right, just remember again to be a part of our show. Call us at 1-800-616-2638. That's gonna do it for this week. Be safe, be friendly, be kind. For Beecham and myself, we'll see you all next week for another episode of the Apple Byte Extra Crunchy. Peace.
All right.